evening. You're watching the news on Croatian television. According to the latest monthly polling numbers, the Croatian Democratic Union is still the strongest political party in Croatia, despite the fact that the HDZ have the lowest rating since the elections, 28.9%. They are still well ahead of the Social Democrats, who are currently polling at 20.8%. The gains that GVZ has been making over the past few months appear to have been dwindling. The small activist party is down by 1 percentage point from February to 10.9%. The Bridge Party remains in fourth place with 7.1% support. The hardline conservatives of the Independence for Croatia party have made the biggest gains and are now flush with the Peasants Party with 2.5% support. In terms of issues, the latest opinion polls show the Agrokor crisis is again the top concern of voters after dropping lower in the rankings for 2 months. Support for the government is also waning. Only 17.6% of citizens believe the country is moving in the right direction, while 72.2% disapprove of Croatia's course. Most leader Božo Petrov, whose party is currently polling in fourth place, says he is not concerned about the latest numbers.
Regardless of what the polls say, as we tour the country, we see that people recognize our party and the policies it stands for. People are becoming increasingly aware that Most is the only political party that was twice willing to be accountable for what happens to the country and was twice willing to give up its position of power in the interest of a more fair and just Croatia.
Young people and education was the focus of a public forum in Split organized by 3 liberal parties, Pametno, the IDS, and Glas. Speakers pointed out that although Croatia had the potential to become a modern, prosperous state, young people don't appear to see much of a future for themselves here. Liberal politicians and academics believe this is because young people are being fed the wrong messages.
This is the wrong approach because instead of these stupid issues politicians bombard us with every day, it is much more important to focus on our prospects for the future, how young people envision it, and what are we doing for their education, for the development of their potential. Croatian politicians are not focusing on any of that. If young people and demographics are the problem, on which there is a consensus, then we need to ask young people what they want and not make decisions for them and expect them to agree and follow through.
Politicians are the ones serving up negative news. They're giving us corruption, the erosion of institutions. These are the messages that we receive every day. You can't expect children to conclude the atmosphere is optimistic. Zvonko Kusic, the chairman of the government-appointed council tasked with figuring out how to deal with the public display of fascist and communist symbols, said the recommendations the council made public last week were a success. In an interview aired on HTV, Kusic said the document was not ideal, but it was realistic. The fact that the recommendations have come under fire from both the left and the right shows the council did a good job, he says.
Now it is up to the government. Prime Minister Andrej Plenković deserves recognition for having the courage to do this. It was a statesmanlike move. Time will tell if these conclusions were important. Now it is time to take the legislative step.
According to the forecast, warmer temperatures and rain are expected in the new week. This could melt the snowpack rapidly and cause the Kupa and Korana rivers to swell, which would put Karlovac under threat of flooding. The National Water Management Company is building temporary box barriers along a 5-kilometer stretch in the Karlovac area, which has been plagued by flooding in recent years and is still awaiting a permanent remedy to its flooding problem.
People are surprised by the decision to go forward with these measures and the speed at which we are moving forward. They still expect a permanent solution to this problem. There is a lot of snow, and it will begin to melt in the coming days. The national water utility says river levels should not change drastically. We'll see. A lot depends on the weather.
2 experienced mountaineers, brothers, died in a tragic accident on the Mosor mountain range near Split last night. The younger of the 2 slipped on a patch of ice and fell while trying to fetch some water from a spring. His older brother and another man went to search for him, but he was already dead when they found him. The older brother then died suddenly, presumably from heart failure. The bodies were taken to Split by helicopter.
We are talking about two mountaineers that the whole community knew. They were always helping hikers in this area. They were wonderful people, and they will be greatly missed by the mountaineering community.
Turning to sports, in handball, PPD Zagreb has failed to advance to the last 16 in the EHF Champions League. PPD lost to Swedish side Kristianstad 24-27 at the Zagreb Arena today in Group A. The Swedish side took control early in the second half and never looked back. Zagreb finished last in their group with only 6 points. Tomorrow's forecast calls for mostly cloudy skies with occasional rain along the coast and snow in the mountains. Snow mixed with sleet and rain will spread over much of the interior during the day. There is also a chance of fog, especially in the morning. On the coast, expect a high east-northeasterly wind in the north and a southeasterly in the south. Morning lows will range from -5 to -1 degree in the interior and from +4 to +9 on the coast. The day's highs will be between 0 and 5 degrees inland and between 9 and 15 on the Adriatic. The three-day outlook for the interior calls for moderate to heavy clouds, occasional rain, and significantly warmer daytime temperatures. On Tuesday, expect snow and freezing rain early in the day. A southwesterly wind will dominate from Wednesday on. On the coast, variable, mostly cloudy conditions are expected with moderate to high southeasterly and southwesterly winds. There is a chance of heavier downpours and thundershowers on Tuesday and Wednesday. Conditions will improve on Thursday when winds will shift to a northwesterly. Temperatures will be around average for this time of year. And that brings us to the end of our program. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow.